Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to be looking at the McFarlane Toys My Hero Academia All-for-One action figure. I picked this up at Think Geek earlier today. I saw it and I thought it looked cool, so I wanted to grab it. It reminded me very much of Tetsuo from Akira, so I really kind of wanted to pick up a big hulking figure. I will admit that I am not a fan of My Hero Academia. I've actually never seen it. So I really know nothing about the character, and I had to do a little basically research for the backstory of this guy. And just to give you guys an idea, his name's All-for-One. His full name is Shigaraki, which I guess his first name's unknown. His aliases include Sensei, Symbol of Evil, the Quirk Stealer, Emperor of Darkness, the Lord, and the greatest demon lord of all. He was the founder and leader of the League of Villains within the My Hero Academia universe. His powers and skills include the ability to steal quirks from others and combine them. He has leadership through strength, life force, genius level intelligence, mastery of manipulation and strategy, as well as tactics, fear inducement, charisma, and I guess he's just an all-around evil guy. His goals were to kill All Might, as well as raise Tamura Shigaraki as the next successor in the League of Villains, which he succeeded at. But these are just a few facts that I've read off a wiki. I really don't know much about him, but I think he looks so cool that I wanted to definitely pick him up and see how he holds up to the rest of the McFarlane line. So if we take a look at the box here, it's a bit, I would say plain, but not too plain. It gives you an idea of what the figure looks like with the huge display box here. So I do like that, and I'm glad that McFarlane's starting to go that way and give you an idea of what you're going to be getting rather than kind of hiding it around graphics. Here at the bottom, we do have just kind of a graphic of the figure and his name, All-for-One. My Hero Academia logo at the top, and then right up here it says 12 plus. So I guess that's just a warning for if you're trying to get this for little kids or something, maybe don't. But yeah, not too bad. On the side here, we actually have just kind of a look at the figure itself. Again, his name, and then a close-up of his, what I'm guessing is a mutated arm. But not great, not bad. On the side here, it's just My Hero Academia logo again. And then on the back, it shows the figure in full. He's a 7-inch action figure, as noted here at the bottom. And he has 22 moving parts, as noted here at the top. And of course, you have the McFarlane logos, McFarlane Toys logo up here on the right. And yeah, he's not a bad looking figure, not much of a box, but we don't ever buy action figures for the box. We always buy them for the figures. So we'll be right back after I crack them open, and we'll take a look at them. So stay tuned. Hey guys, welcome back. So this is All-for-One out of the box. As you can see, it's really just the figure himself, and then just the simple stand that McFarlane is known for doing. If you take a look at the stand real quick, it has a peg mainly for the left leg of his. But outside of that, just the My Hero Academia logo and just a flat base, so pretty simple. What comes with the standard McFarlane figures there. And the figure. Now this figure, I think, is a very unique looking figure. It's certainly the reason why I picked it up, but I don't think it's without its setbacks. And we'll get into that here in a little bit, but just aesthetically looking, he's very pleasing to the eye. I think he has a very distinct look, especially with the fact that his face actually carries no features on it. There's kind of indentations where his eyes used to be, but his nose and mouth are covered up by this huge device that goes all the way around the back of his head, and it looks kind of almost like Bane from The Dark Knight Rises, but I think it's a bit more unique than that, and I love that the detail on it too. You kind of have this sky blue in the background of his voice box, slash inhaler area, and then these tubes that are all crooked all around his neck brace. I just think that looks awesome, and that was kind of the first thing that attracted me to it. As you can see, he's kind of dressed in just your regular business suit. slacks, suit jacket, dress shirt, even dress shoes and everything. So I mean, I'm guessing that's his look from the anime, though I couldn't vouch for that. But then also, the big part of him is his arm, and the detail in the arm I think is just terrific. I mean, this was one of the big things that made me look at the box in the first place, and McFarlane's known for their detail, and they kind of don't let up. It's not as detailed as I think I would have liked it. I wanted a bit more dirtier, bit more grimier, but I do like how it looks, and I think it's so neat. You have debris and rocks and different stuff like that caught in it. It looks great, and I mean, it's a huge bonus for the figure and makes him stand out. When we come to articulation with the figure, the head is very tight. It moves side to side, but not so much in a 360 motion to the point where you want to break it. So it's pretty simple but standard. Here we have a rotating joint for the left hand of his, as well as a mid-bicep rotation joint here, so you can do a full 360 right on this area. You have a hinge joint in the elbow, so it can extend out. And I mean, I always love the hinge joints, but the fact that you have that with the bicep, it really does give that sort of articulation you want. And then you also have a hinge joint as well as a rotator joint in his hand, so you can turn it any which way, flip it up, flip it down. It's pretty simple there. In terms of his waist does move, but again, very tight. You don't really want to overdo it with him. But it's, especially when it comes to posing, that will be problematic, but we'll get there in a minute. His knees have two hinge joints, so it bends above the knee and bends below the knee, as you can see. And I always love when knees do that, and they actually do a great job covering that up and not really showing you the hinge joints on there. So the double joint basically masking job that they did, I thought was great. Especially you can see right here it kind of shows, but front on it doesn't. Lastly, at the foot, it doesn't rotate so much, as you can see. Again, very tight with the figure, but it does have the heel joint, so you can push his feet up like that, or just back down flat. So that's really awesome, and I'm glad that they're adding that sort of detail into McFarlane again, because that's definitely the articulation that people kind of want to go for, especially when posing. The biggest and probably weirdest part of the articulation of this figure, though, is right here in his mutated arm. So there's a double hinge joint similar to what we saw in the Bruce Lee figure that I reviewed, where they kind of did a double joint at the shoulders. So this fleshy piece where there's no seam, the seam's right here, but right here there actually is rotation on the flesh that's melded to his suit. So that does turn, and in turning, you kind of want to match it up ideally with how you're going to pose him with the seam joint that's right there. So while there's two joints, it's kind of meant to give you a little extra articulation for matching up how the figure should look aesthetically when you pose him. And it's a bit awkward, not terrible, and it doesn't hurt the figure in any way. It's kind of an odd choice. It was an odd choice for the Bruce Lee figure, and I think it's an odd choice here. I'd be fine if this was just all one solid piece and we can just turn it, rotate it as you see it, but not a big setback or anything. The biggest problem I have, however, probably with this figure, and again, not a killer for me, but it's the arm. The arm, I love it, how it looks. I love the color palette. Again, I wish I was a little bit darker and everything, but I love how this looks on the figure. This piece alone weighs more than this entire figure, and that becomes problematic when you're trying to pose him and really restricts the posability on him. I mean, there's very little posing I can do where he doesn't just fall back or fall to the side because of the weight of this. This arm weighs down the figure so much on this side that it's shocking that they would put this to release. I'm just shocked that there wouldn't be more problems, and this probably could have easily been figured out and easily avoided, especially if they had just made a 2-peg stand or done a arm stand to hold him up. But I mean, essentially what you're going to be getting more than anything is just standing him up this way and then trying to position him in a sort of awkward position, almost like this, to where you want to make him look natural and daunting, but it's going to show that there's a little bit more weight on this side than intended. So that is kind of one thing that I would have to say is maybe a setback. It doesn't take away nearly as much as I'd want it to, but it is an annoyance that I realized after messing with them, that this could get old real quick if you know, I really wanted to use them as a figure, and I had trouble posing them. The other small setback, not a huge one for me, but I also kind of wish the color palette on his suit was a bit brighter. The colors seem sort of faded in a matte color, and again, I haven't watched the anime, so I'm not sure how exactly accurate it is, but I just wish there was a bit more intensity to the color palette. It looks great, the suit's done really well, and I like all the forms that and molds that they did on this figure, but just a brighter color, I think that would have helped a bit more in this case, and maybe given him a more girth and more oomph in the look of him. The arm, I actually don't mind the color palette, it's just mainly the suit and the headpiece, so not terrible, and then not a huge complaint, but again, it just doesn't, it would make the figure stand out a bit more. The last thing I wanted to note is that he only comes with one hand outside of his mutated hand, and that's just the open palm one here. And while you can make it look like a kind of a crushing or a galactic type pose like that, I actually have a piece, this is just an extra piece from another figure, but he holds stuff quite well. So if you had any pieces to like show his destruction or show his power or something, just wanted to, you know, kit bash and add some stuff in with him, this is a very easy way to pose stuff in his hand, especially with how his hands grip it. It looks much more natural than I was expecting, and I mean, as long as you can form a gun or, you know, a sword or what have you into the hand, it actually should work pretty well. So, you know, altogether, I'd say, guys, you know, he was about $20 to $25, and if you're a fan, I would say definitely pick him up. He's well worth the money, and he's definitely going to be a piece that stands out. Even if, you know, people haven't watched the anime, they're definitely going to ask you what he's about if you have him sitting out in your collection. So yeah, I definitely recommend him as an addition. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below. You know, have you picked him up? Do you plan on picking him up? Maybe even let me know a little bit more about My Hero Academia. I know nothing about it, so maybe this figure will get me started on watching. But outside of that, guys, make sure to like and subscribe, and until next time, this is Aces signing off.